Well, today is September 3rd. It's going to be an exciting day. As you know, we have ChocoPro 251, NWA USA, and of course, for the first time for a while, I'll be doing a WWE review. I have to say, Clash at the Castle is an amazing show. I think I enjoyed it. And then we're going to be also reviewing the latest special edition of AEW Dark Elevation a day before All Out. And of course, we cannot forget High Alert, which is New Japan Strong's last leg of the tour. So I can't believe it's coming to an end. And of course, we got some news updates that we got to share what's been going on in the world of pro wrestling. So let's get ready for another episode of the Deleted Wrestle Zone.
Are you ready? Get up, get up! 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 Get up, get up!
Welcome everybody to the Deleted Wrestle Zone, all things that's pro wrestling with AEW, NXT, New Japan Pro Wrestling, Impact Wrestling, the National Wrestling Alliance, various promotions, wrestlers, matches, and championships. I am your host, Gerard here. So, let's begin with ChocoPro 251. It opened up, of course, with Chiko Shikawa teaming up with Sayaka to take on Masahiro Takanashi of CDK and Sawadi Kamen. Now, keep in mind in these type of matches, now there's always X factors in these type of match. Now, Masahiro Takanashi, he's a bit of the aggressive but much experienced wrestler. You got, of course, Chiko Shikawa and Sayaka. Both of them, they're part of the fourth generation girls in Got to Move, but they were able to hold their own. Now, I kind of thought in the back of my head that this is going to fall in favor of Masa and Sawadi, but however, somehow Chiko Shikawa was able to overturn this match and pin Sawadi, becoming this is her first pin, and of course she had to make a big fuss out of it, laughing about it, knowing that she finally got a really good victory. And I'm sure Masa did not anticipate that. Now, our next match, we have a trios match, should I say. We have Yuna Mizumori, Sayaka Obihiro, and Minoru Fujita taking on Mei Shiruga, Antonio Honda, and of course DD2's very own Toru Owashi. Now, keep in mind in this, I must reveal, this particular day is in fact Sayaka Obihiro's birthday. Everybody in her team were dressed up except for her, she's dressed up in a chef outfit, while everybody dressed up in an apron type. And, you know, the kinds that you go in the kitchen or barbecue, whatever, you know. So I thought it was a really interesting match, not to mention, this is one of those matches, of course, you gotta pay attention because this would be Sayaka's big moment. Keep in mind, as I mentioned, this is her birthday. But, however, things did not go exactly according to plan because it was Antonio Honda, who is a bit of the, not a trickster, but also finds ways to outmaneuver his opponents, and he submitted Sayaka Obihiro. And of course, during the post-match, she was crying because she cannot believe she lost on her birthday. I know it's sad, but it happens. Now, for our Jonkin tournament, we had a little interesting development between Yuna and Mei Shiruga. Basically, Yuna said that if Mei Shiruga loses, she has to cook and wear the apron. And of course, they agreed. Mei Shiruga lost. She has to wear the apron. Now, I did not anticipate who was going to go all the way. Now, to my surprise, it went up to Yuna Mizumori. I was like, whoa. I did not see that one coming. But that means Mei Shiruga has to be cooking for everyone. So that's going to be really interesting. So, well, I don't know what's going to happen for the following day, but we will find out. So I think that's pretty much it with ChocoPro. I believe it's time for NWA USA. Okay, NWA USA, as you know, we began a qualifying tournament for the National Championship As you know, we have a brand new champion, which is Zion. This is going to be interesting. This was an idea that was created by none other than wrestling legend and WWE Hall of Famer Ricky the Dragon Steamboat. So he even had a little. So it's even Austin Idol believes that none of these guys who he chosen have what it takes to defeat him. But however, Ricky Steamboat has a different opinion. This isn't about that he cannot be. Can he be the champion that he says he is? That he trained them to be? That's the obvious question. But of course, Austin Idol, he's benevolence on that. So let's get to it. Now, our first match is a four-way match. We have Joe Ocasios, Gustavo, TJ Maxx, and then of course here comes the guy who claims he's a better second generational wrestler, Colby Corino, along with Jamie Stanley, who now serves as his manager, which was unusual. But I knew Jamie Stanley was going to run interference in every aspect, just like he always does. But of course, it did help Colby Corino to win his match. But of course, during his interview with May Valentine, it's no secret that he wants to edge his own legacy. And not to mention, the one thing that's still on his mind is obtaining the Junior Heavyweight Championship, a title that he believes he is the rightful owner to. Now, we even got a very interesting celebration coming from the Fixers when Kyle Davis invited them to the podium. As you know, the Fixers are the current and new inaugural NWA United States Tag Team Champions. Now, it's still unclear who will be their next challengers, but it seems like they're having a celebration. They even proved doubters wrong and all that. I think it's really interesting. Now they're stepping into their own way. I don't believe they're going to be associating themselves anymore with Colby Corino, so it's time for them to make their own plans how they want to go with. Now, our next two qualifying matches we have is for the National Tournament qualifier. Our first match, we have Magic Jake Dumas versus Luke Hawx. Now, you know Dumas, he has tricks up his sleeves, or he'll pull out something out of his hat, a rabbit out of his hat, due to the way to ensure. Not to mention CJ is there to run interference, but this time it did not work out that way. But he was able to put away Luke Hawx in order to advance. Now, our next match, we have Drapon taking on the Dane event Jack Stane. Now, as you know, Jack Staines has not been in a good, happy mood ever since he lost the national title to Zion. I think he's been on a tailspin. However, during the match, he was losing his composure, losing his control. But Silvio was doing everything in his power. Stay focused, stay focused. But apparently, it took a toll on him. He lost control, even shoved the referee. So it was still unclear whether if Draper actually won or this match ended in no contest. There was no indications on that. Hopefully, NWA can give us more information on that. So we'll find out soon enough. And I believe that is it for the NWA USA. I believe it's time for WWE's Clash at the Castle. Okay, normally I hardly do any WWE stuff, but however, I went to see this with my brother at his apartment. I have to say, this show was amazing. I loved it, but I want you guys to be honest with me. Did it felt like a takeover show? I mean, it felt like it. You know? I just had that feeling it felt like that. But anyway, let's talk about the matches. We have Damage Control, Io Sky, Dakota Kai, Bailey versus Alexa Bliss, Asuka, and Bianca Belair. Now, I have to say, I like this tag team match in certain aspects. Damage Control played the smarter team in this one, isolating their opponents in order to keep tagging each other in, try to wear each other out. So, but also they played the blind tags where, of course, the opponents cannot see that they pulled it off. So I think that's what makes this match pretty good. I have to say, Damage Control really pulled off a good tag team coordination. But however, it was Bailey who picked up the win, pinning Bianca Belair. Now, this could be the indication that Bianca Belair may have to put her WWE Raw's Women's Championship on the line against Bailey. The obvious question does remain now, when and where. So we'll find out soon enough. Now, our next match, I have to say this is the best match of the night. I think this is my number one favorite match of this one. The WWE Intercontinental Championship between Sheamus and Gunther. I have to say, god dang, what a great match. What I loved about it is this. If you ever seen any of Gunther's matches before he was known as Gunther, you guys know what the effing hell I'm talking about. That guy knows how to throw in some good chops. It's like, I have to say, the match was amazing. I loved what they were doing in this one. But however, the obvious is, how was this going to be? Now, you did notice in the beginning of the event, it was appropriate because we saw Giovanni Vinci shows up on the side of Gunther. I don't know exactly what made this match amazing, but I have to say, I loved it. But however, it took at least 2 power bombs to put away Sheamus for Gunther to retain the Intercontinental Championship. So this means the In-Ring General reigns supreme once again. Now, our next match is the WWE Women's SmackDown Championship. Now, this is between Shayna Baszler and Liv Morgan. Now, I have to say, this is an amazing storyline, in my opinion, what I like. Now, my brother agreed with me in this one. I think I viewed this match as more like, okay, we have wrestlers like Shayna Baszler who believes she is the top supreme. We can agree on that. But do we believe that Liv Morgan is the ultimate underdog in this story? People say she shouldn't be coming for a title. She's not ready for it. But I have to say, she took longer than she normally would in this match. Normally she wouldn't, but this time she did. She pulled it off amazingly. She knew that she would be targeted with the left arm by Shayna Baszler. But however, according to commentary, she's been training with Matt Riddle in order to stay in shape, because she knows she has to learn a little bit of the MMA background against Shayna Baszler. But however, she did pull off an amazing win. I did not anticipate that, but like I said, Liv Morgan is the ultimate underdog in this story. So I have to say, it was a good match. Next up, we have Rey Mysterio and Edge along with Dominic Mysterio to take on Judgment Day, Finn Balor, Damian Priest along with Rhea Ripley. I have to say, this is a good match because it showed, okay, Rey Mysterio and Edge are not going to take any crap from Judgment Day, no matter what they said. But of course, Dominic was there on the corner to ensure the sides. But in many aspects, I think there were a lot of questions that many people thought. Will Dominic turn his back on Edge and Rey? We thought the same thing during the match. But however, it was, of course, it was Edge that picked up the win onto the Finn Balor. But however, during the match, we saw Dominic turn heel. He literally kicked Edge in the low blow. We did not anticipate that, but later he attacked his own father, and you see Judgment Day making fun of it, enjoying it. So this means he joins Judgment Day. He didn't actually side with him. He just walks with him. But of course, Rey pleaded with Edge for forgiveness because he did not know. But of course, Edge is gonna forgive Rey. But of course, obvious question does remain. Dominic, you better have some answers. So Edge will be seeing you on Monday. Now, our next match, we have Matt Riddle and Seth Rollins. This particular match is more like, of course, Rollins decided to get into the head of Matt Riddle, playing psychological warfare games type. As you know, Riddle was divorced and his wife took his kids, basically trying to prove that Matt Riddle will always be a loser. And I thought this match was good. I have to say, it was good. It played out psychology matters in this one, but however, it took a big stomp to put away Matt Riddle. However, Seth Rollins believes, we're done, pal. I beat you. But by the look of Riddle's face, it doesn't seem it's going to be the end of it. So I'll bet you that sooner or later, Riddle will attack them and Seth Rollins will say, I'm done with you. But no matter what Rollins would think, it's never going to be over. Now, our main event, we have, of course, the WWE and the Universal title on the line. We have the Tribal Chief, Roman Reigns, taking on Drew McIntyre, who is the hero of this story. Now, as you know, McIntyre took out the entire bloodline. So basically, he has no one to back him up. I thought this match was great. The entire time we did not see the Claymore put on play. We saw the spear, we saw the Superman punch, everything. But Drew McIntyre kicked out of that. But there was one. But the one thing I did not anticipate is Austin Theory shows up, tries to cash in, but luckily it did not happen because he got his lights knocked out by Tyson Fury. So that kind of spoiled it for him. But however, one thing we did not anticipate, but my brother kind of called it in some ways, that Solo Sikoa was going to make his main roster debut, but we did not anticipate it was going to be on this one, and it did. So it appears he is now a member of the Bloodline. I believe that was something that many people have thought about, that he's going to be part of the Bloodline because he is the younger brother of the Usos. So, but however, it took another spear and to take out Drew McIntyre, and of course, once again, the Tribal Chief reigns supreme. But the obvious question does remain: who is going to be the one to dethrone the Tribal Chief? My money is on Karrion Kross, but we'll get to that bridge when it happens. So I think that's pretty much it what we got with WWE. I believe it's time to move on with AEW Dark Elevation special episode. Okay, AEW Dark Elevation. This is a special episode, a day before we go to All Out. It started out with mixed tag team match. We have Ty Mello teaming with her husband Sammy Guevara to take on Laney Luck and GPA. Now you probably guessed this match will fall into favor with Guevara and Ty. Well, it just did when they did a double knockout. As you know, we saw the Go to Hell and of course Tay KO. So that kind of ends it, gives them the winning advantage. Next up, we got Swerve in Our Glory, Strickland and Lee taking on Joshi and Storm Grayson. Now, you probably guessed this match also will fall into favor with Swerve in Our Glory. It took at least a stop power bomb to finish off Storm and Joshi, giving them the momentum that they need before they get into All Out. Next up, we got trios actions. The Factory, Nick Comoroto, Aaron Solo, and Cole Carter, along with that Weasel QT taking on Dark Order Silver and Reynolds, teaming up with Cowboy, Hangman Adam Page. I have to say it was a pretty good match, but of course the X Factor is QT. He's always there, but it took at least a buckshot lariat to wipe out Aaron Solo, giving, Hangman and Silvers and Reynolds the momentum they need in order to face the Elite in the final. So this is going to be good to see. Next up, we have the Acclaim, Bowens and Caster taking on Invictus Cash and GPH. Now you probably guessed this match also falls in favor of the Acclaim. It took at least a mic drop in order to finish off GPA, and of course it was Bowens who made the pinfall. 1, 2, 3. Good night. Of course, everybody in Chicago, the Acclaim has truly arrived. Now our next match, another mixed tag match. Now this is one I did not anticipate. We had Balin Aki teaming up with Emi Sakura to take on Ortiz and Ruby Soho. Now, Balin Aki was grateful in his Twitter page about having this opportunity to have this match with Emi Sakura before he heads back to Japan. As you know, his tenure being in the U.S. is coming to an end very soon. And I believe he had a great time, doing that. So I'm sure he's blessed that he got this opportunity. But however, it took, of course, Destination Unknown onto Balinaki for Ruby Soho to take him out. And then, of course, Ortiz make the pinfall, giving Ruby and Ortiz the momentum they need before going to All Out, since they're going to be challenging for the AAA mixed tag team titles against Ty and Sammy. Now our main event, we have Angelico teaming up with the Butcher and the Blade to take on the Best Friends and Orange Cassidy. Now you probably know this is one of those matches that is going to be a little tough. Not to mention Danhausen is there, but Angelico, despicable that he is, knocked out Danhausen thinking it was cool. But unfortunately, it did not go so well because he got cursed, because he got hit right in the gonads thanks to Danhausen, because he really did get cursed, and it gave, of course, Orange Cassidy the pinfall when they did that little triple move they did to finish him off. 1, 2, 3. Good night. And of course, the Best Friends and Orange Cassidy wins. So we'll see what happens then in later on in their careers. As you know, they lost recently in the Trios tournament, but they will be one of the fan favorites in AEW. So I think that's pretty much it what we have for that. I believe it's time for our final review, New Japan Strong. Okay, our final review here. New Japan Strong with the last of the High Alert tour. Opened up with John Skyler taking on Lucky Ali since they're in North Carolina. This is Lucky Ali's, more of his hometown. But however, a little bit of the aggressiveness has been played out with John Skyler to prove his point why he is there in New Japan Strong. Now, Lucky Ali was able to overturn certain moments in this particular match, but however, the way that John Skyler maneuvered the match in order to fall in his favor, he did it by a pinfall. 1, 2, 3. Sorry, Lucky, you just got unlucky. So that's how it would have been played out. So that's it. Moving on, we have, of course, Jake Something taking on the Mad King himself, Eddie Kingston. This is one of those matches where, of course, Eddie Kingston, as you know, New Japan Strong is taped. This comes out right after Eddie Kingston lost into that barbed wire match with Jericho. So the obvious question that Kozlov did mention, is he 100%? Well, we don't know for sure, but this is the perfect timing to see if he did. However, it did not bother Kingston. He was able to pull up a good win until he gave him back fist to the future. 1, 2, 3. Something is knocked the hell out. Now our main event is for the strong openweight title between Fred Yehi and Fred Rosser. Now keep in mind, Fred Rosser had one of the biggest opponents before Rosser. Of course, we're talking about Big Damo, but Fred Yehi, who has been in an absolute tearing up all over New Japan Strong, he decided that he will step up to challenge him. But of course, Fred Yehi is 100% confident that he will walk out as the champion. Now, keep in mind, this is a different style of wrestling that Fred Rosser is dealing with. Fred Yehi, he has that amateur and, of course, grappling background that fits in who he is. And I think that's going to put him to the test. But, however, it took Fred Rosser to put him out once and for all with the chicken wing, giving him, once again, to retain the title. However, as soon as the match was over, he called out for another challenger. To our surprise, is none other than Public Enemy and member of the United Empire, TJP. Now, the only reason TJP comes out is because he felt that Fred Rosser owes him one, since he was the one who brought him in to New Japan Strong, and that's what he wants. As you know, this is the kind of title that the United Empire craves. They believe they should be running the entire wrestling world, and that includes New Japan Strong. But Fred Rosser is not going to let someone like, what's his name? TJP ruin his parade. So we'll see what happens. But of course, he didn't want to face him now. It has to be under his terms in LA. So I think that kind of plays out in a home field advantage. So we'll see when that day comes or when is the next tour. So we'll be staying on top of that. So right now, let's do our final thing, which is news updates. Okay, so we only have 2 news updates that I'm definitely going to do. Our first one, as you know, I mentioned, is House of Glory is back with their latest pay-per-view, which is Genesis, that will take place on the 24th of September. Now, I did reveal that we're going to have the tag team titles on the line. Well, however, it's already been confirmed. As you know, in the last pay-per-view by House of Glory, Violet actually won the Battle Royal, and she chose her title, which is the House of Glory Women's title. So Natalia Markova probably saw this. Now it's been confirmed that the House of Glory Women's Championship will be on the line. Natalia Markova will be challenged by Violet. So we'll see what happens if she dethrones Markova. Now, friendly reminder for all you Jungle Kyona fans out there. As you know, Jungle Kyona will be coming to the United States. This will be her first time being here for a long while. She's already been booked for many events taking place. So here's what she's going to be doing. September 10th, she'll be at JCW, Jersey Championship Wrestling for Uncensored, where she'll be challenging Masha Slamovich. That's going to be a baller. Then after that, on the 16th of September, she'll be going to Garden State Pro Wrestling for the Dynasty Clash, where she'll be challenging Janai Kai. That's also going to be a really good match. Next, in the following day, on the 17th of September, she'll be heading to Deadlock Pro Wrestling for Victory Lap, where she'll be facing fellow Joshi wrestler, and I don't believe they ever faced off against each other before. We're talking about Maya Yuki, who also will be making her debut in the U.S. I'm excited for that, for both of them. And following up after that, she'll be heading for Inspire for the long walk on the 10th of for the 8th of September, no 6th of September, where she teams up with Vert Vixen, and she'll be taking on High-End and Danny B. And I believe this promotion is somewhere down in Texas. Now, then of course, 2 days later, she'll be heading to the West Coast, most likely the Bay Area, where she'll be West Coast Pro for the Ride the Lightning on the 8th of October, where she'll be facing off against Sandra Moon. And then finally, she'll be heading for the Midwest All-Stars Wrestling for the Grand Slam 4, where she team up with Sumi Sakai to take on Ray Lynn and Natalia Markova, and I believe this one will take place in November, I believe. So we'll see what takes place. So if you guys are Jungle Kyona fans out there, you can rewind and see where I talked about, and you guys will be enjoying this. All of Jungle Kyona's fans, I can't wait to see what she's gonna do. And I'm excited. I hope everybody is excited. So I think that's pretty much it, what we got with our news updates. I believe it's time to call it a day. Okay, so hope everybody enjoys this episode. I'm sure some of you probably enjoyed me talking about WWE Clash at the Castle. As you know, I rarely do these type of things with WWE. As you know, I got bored with it. I got tired. I know there's been changes with the whole thing with Triple H running things. I'm excited for that. But we'll see how this is going to go on. Coming up, as you know, we continue with more with ChocoPro with 252. We'll see what takes place. And we cannot forget, we have the Worlds Collide. Both NXT brands of NXT and NXT UK will clash, and there'll be unifications from many titles. We're talking about the NXT and the NXT UK title, who will walk out. And then, of course, there's the NXT Women's and the NXT UK Women's title. And then, of course, the tag titles we cannot forget. So there's going to be a lot of interesting things taking place. And then, of course, we cannot forget AEW's biggest event, All Out. We will see who will walk out between the CM Punk or Jon Moxley, and various other matches we definitely got to take a look at. I'm so excited for these. So we'll just see what happens then. If there's anything I'm going to put in before that, well, we'll see. So right now, I'll see you guys in the next DWZ time. Same DWZ channel. I must bid all of you adieu. So, goodbye. Mwah. And have a nice day.